Testing.
Good evening. Today is Monday, April 7th, 2025. We are at the Green Ladle and we'll call the meeting to order at 5:35 p.m. and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We will start introductions with Councillor Harriman.
Scott Harriman, City Council Representative to the School Committee.
Megan Hurd, Ward 6.
Iman Osman, Ward 5.
Craig Charpentier, Ward 4.
Elizabeth Eames, Ward 3.
Janet Bowden, Ward 2.
Phoenix McLaughlin, Ward 1.
Megan Parks at large.
Jake Langley, Superintendent.
Karen Paquette, Assistant Superintendent.
Our Ward 7 rep is absent excused this evening. Agenda item number 3 is the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that members would like set aside? Seeing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Agenda item number 4 is public input. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on non-agenda items now and on agenda items later. Comments that pertain to staff, personnel matters, or a student issue should be directed to the superintendent or the appropriate staff member of Lewiston Public Schools. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief, not repetitive, and related to the matter at hand. Before starting, please state your name, address, and affiliation with Lewiston Public Schools. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
Matthew Egren, Ward 4. I am very pleased to see greater transparency with the school committee's consent agenda. The only thing that the superintendent has said that has not yet been done is your rationale still shows that you tonight voted on a business or financial document. There was none in your packet that we could see. The only other thing that I would like to see you do is if you guys change a document ahead of time that you'll be voting on and place it and have it placed online, please post an amended one to the website. Kathy at City Hall's had to do this for their agendas, sometimes as late as 1 o'clock on the meeting day. Many of us are better at reading documents than listening to and comprehending the changes. This is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, where we bring the attention to the fact that, much like domestic abuse, child abuse only gets worse in silence. The CDC claims 1 in 7 American kids experienced child abuse or neglect in the last year. We need to build an environment for our children that are safe, stable, and nurturing. Remember, our children are the future of this world, and we need to allow them to have the best positive experience growing up engaged within the greater community. Our schools can provide that safe space for some of these children that need those positive experiences. Our teachers, our ed techs provide some of that space, safe space. They're also mandated reporters. So if they suspect a child's been abused or neglected, they are required by law to report it to the Office of Child and Family Services. But if you or I, who are not mandated, see something that makes us wonder, is that child being abused and neglected? We should report it to both our local police department and the Office of Child and Family Services. We should not confront the possible abuser, as that can put that child in much greater danger. My final point tonight is to go back and touch on something Member McLaughlin said a few weeks ago. While many of you will not be here in 5 years or more, what is wrong with you guys setting measurable goals to see if the school system is making progress, meeting educational improvement goals for the system? This way, the public, the school system, has some idea how they're really doing truthfully. Because right now, you put a policy in play, there is no measurable way to determine what is being done. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
Okay, Zahra ayaa bilaabaysa. Ana hadlayo ma turjumay. Okay. Waxaan rabaa aniga Okay, yeah, magacayga Zahra waaye, Zahra Usman. My name is Zahra Usman. Ciyaalkayga high school ilaa elementary waaye dhigtaan dugsiga hoose iyo middle school. My children go to elementary school, middle school, and high school. Marka waxaan rabaa ifka family group oo wax lagu baranayo marka inay hadii iskuulka lacala ilmaha laga soo fiijiyo inay program ay haastaan inay la keeno. If, for example, children are expelled from school, I would like for them to go to IFCA Community Services. Marka ani hadii ilmahayga dib ma qabaan alxamdulillah laakiin walaalkay qabo walaashay kala qabta neighborkayga qabo. My children never got in trouble or never got expelled, but I have family members, my neighbors, and community members who have those problems. That's all.
Next. Magacayga Abdiyaal dhaha.
My name is Abdiya.
Maxaa haastaa ilmo badan oo iskuulka middle school ilaa high school ilaa elementary dhigtaan.
I have children that go to elementary school, middle school, all the way to high school.
Laba ilmahay ka mid yihiin I think last year oo iskuulka lagu buri laakiin maxaa waa ku shaqeeyeen inaa oonaytay roads wax la dhahay oo sameeyaan.
Two of my children were expelled last year from the school, but they worked very hard on roads. Rooted.
And but choice kalma laho ruleska naftirkiisaba ilaa waiting list la galo waqti qaata aa naqdeen. So
But there was no other choices. In order for them to be part of the rooted, they were on the wait list. We had to call them several times to get in.
So saas dartiisa usoo baxay sidii oonaytay waa shaqadii qabtaan waa fiican yihiin dhe sidii idinka nin oo shaqadaas amaleetay la idinku siiyo sidii ilmaha intii waiting listka ku jiri lahaayeen oo instead of them waiting list le ku jiri lahaayeen they have another choice also.
Instead of them being on the waiting list, I would like for them to have other choices to also attend.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
My name is Hafsa Omar. IFCA Community Services has after school program. We teach the student language, culture. Sorry. Language, cultures. We prepare them to become translator, interpret in the future. We also help with the student like homework, academic, how to get good grade in the school.
Hi, my name is Ifrah Saeed Isa. I am Ward 2 person, a resident. I am the founding executive director at IFCA Community Services. I also graduated from Lewiston High School back in 2003. One of our big mission at IFCA Community Services is to be role models for the community, for the children, and also to help them get a better future. And so in the past few years, we have noticed a lot of children getting expelled and waiting sometimes months to get services. And so we have the availability to help them. We have the capability and the ability to help them. We have the qualifications to help them. And right now, their only option is Rooted. And Rooted is a great program, and I love the people that work there and the leadership there. However, from a perspective from a mother or parents, I would like for them to have options if their children faces difficulties with engagement with the school or getting expelled or with re-entry. We would like to offer our services to those students. And I would like for the school to consider having IFCA Community Services as one of their partners. And in the future, I hope to be on the agenda where I can discuss things in more detail. Thank you so much.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, agenda item number 5 is to receive Lewiston Public Schools recognitions.
So tonight we have a student recognition, and Assistant Director West, if you want to come up, or if there's anyone else here from the Bridge Year effort. But we learned about a new situation, and we want to share about it. Amni Mohammed, who is a Lewiston High School student, an LRTC student, and is also a junior in the Bridge Academy program. And I believe they may share a little more about this. But he has been recognized and selected by the Vanderbilt School of Medicine into their Aspironaut program. And Brian, did you want to share a little bit of information about that? This is Brian Langley. He's the executive director of the Bridge Academy program, which we partner with the high school and the technical center. But we're going to take some time to recognize you, Andy, for the amazing work you're doing and what a great opportunity that you have before you.
Well, so thank you so much, Lewiston School Board, for having me come down tonight. It's a great pleasure to be here, kind of get a chance. I haven't been able to come and see you before this, but I would like to kind of be the sort of the welcome from the folks at Vanderbilt. I've worked with Doctors Billy and Julie Hudson for about a dozen years. I live up in Ellsworth. My name is Brian Langley. The protocol you have for this, I reside in Ellsworth. I am the executive director of Bridge Academy, Maine, a 27-year teacher at Hancock County Technical Center is kind of how I enter into this. I've met Billy and Julie Hudson. They were visiting summer professors at the MDI Biological Laboratory, and we happened to cross paths some dozen years or so ago. But in the interest of time, I'll fast forward through a lot of all kinds of fun stuff and get to what they do with the Astronaut program. You can kind of look them up, and you can actually see an article in People magazine back in the spring, in which you'll see Fadumo Ahmed in the front row there. You should go find that. Lewiston is famous. She was there last summer. And her work there got her BridgeQuest scholarship, full boat ride to Johns Hopkins next year. So Lewiston has kind of a nice, rich history of sending wonderful students. But they search rural America looking for brilliant young minds to give them an opportunity that might not be otherwise available to folks that may live in more urban areas, maybe closer to those top tier schools. And our relationship with them, our partnership with Bridge Academy, because we work with CTEs around the state of Maine. Obviously, we kind of qualify for rural right from the get-go. And through an application process, Hamdi here has been selected to go there this summer. Now, let me give you a little bit about what that program will do. He'll be working on, I don't know how much he really knows yet, other than he's going. But we've had quite a number of folks from Maine go, and I can tell you what it does for their future. It is a launch pad into great things for them. But he'll be working on some original science that has not been worked on before. Be working with scientists, world-renowned scientists, world-renowned scientist writers. that will come in. They'll help him work on what he'll be facing with SATs or ACTs. They'll help him with writing essays to get into those top tier schools that he might be interested in. They know the name Vanderbilt Medical School very, very well, frankly. And Vanderbilt Medical School is one of those schools that many of these kids also apply to. Not only do they do that and work that, but their program director is a woman named Rachel Baugh, who was a 2004 gold medalist swimmer. And she runs this holistic program. Not only are they working on science and what their future might look like, but how do you stay healthy in that process? So the evenings would be full of, how do you handle stress? How do you build an exercise program? How do you keep your head on straight and work through all of the life stress that it'll throw at you? So that's what, in a nutshell. I know you've got a long meeting ahead of you. I looked at your agenda today. It says 8:30. Doubt it that you're going to get there in time, but we're very proud of him. We got a chance to meet and talk with him. He went with us about a week ago. We did a little field trip to Portland to do some credit transfer stuff, went to a Maine Celtics game, and so we had a lot of fun. So I don't know if you want to tell him a little bit about what your process was, but.
Yeah, I'm very happy for this opportunity. When I learned about it back in January, it was very exciting. I applied for it, learned I got in right after my robotics competition, early March. And from there, it was just doing some necessities. I just sent them some information, and I'll be going. It'll be from the beginning of June, June 1st to July 12th, over that period. And they are helping me really from scratch build a bunch of skills that I'm going to need in the future. And when I just read what the plan was for those 6 weeks, it just lit a fire in me. I'm very excited to go, and I just can't wait to grasp this opportunity I've been given.
And he gets paid.
And he gets paid.
And there's money.
Hamdi, question for you, before we come give you a certificate. We're all very proud of you. How many credits do you anticipate graduating high school with for college? How many college credits do you think you'll
I
graduate with?
believe I will have, after this year, that's a good question, because I'll have,
You can estimate if you
I believe I'll have about 25-ish credits. I need some more work because I want to finish my associate's degree in high school, but I'll see how many classes I can really fit in for my major, but it'll be.
So if the summer goes well, there's an opportunity for you to graduate with an associate's degree in this Vanderbilt opportunity through Lewiston High School and Technical Center Bridger program.
Thank you.
Great job. We're very proud of you.
So in August, I'll see the Hudsons. I own a restaurant up in Ellsworth, the lobster pot. They'll come visit me, and they'll give you the lowdown on how you do.
And I believe I'll come back and I'll speak to you guys next year and tell you how it all went.
That would be
Can't wait
great.
till
Thank you.
then.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Have a great day.
So the next set of recognitions we have Mr. Paul Kennedy. Would you mind coming up, and Ms. Jess Doohan, would you mind coming up to the podium? They're not anticipating this. This is out of their plan. There's a third person from the Technical Center who are SkillsUSA advisors, Jason Merritt. And what they do every year is essentially like coordinating to start, 700 or so kids. And then it goes back to the group that's going to Bangor, coordinating the events, the competitions, all the paperwork that doesn't come in, all the paperwork that still doesn't come in, that still doesn't come in. The arrangements for transportation, and they're going to present some things tonight, but as part of recognitions, I think it appropriate that we formally recognize them as advisors for the amazing work they're doing to get all of our kids to and from these places, and the amounts of Advil and Tylenol that it may take to get juniors and seniors to where they should be so that they can find success and show off their skills. And without you, you two and Jason, who's not here tonight, it's not possible. So we just want to take a moment to thank you very much for all the work you do for our kids.
Thank you.
It is kind of like herding cats.
Good luck.
Agenda item number 6 is to receive and potentially vote on the field trip request for the Boston Museum of Science for Geiger Elementary School, and Miss Miles will present.
Hi, I'm Anita Miles. I'm a 6th grade teacher at Geiger, and we're looking to get approved to go to the Boston Museum of Science on May 16th. We get on the bus at Geiger at 7 in the morning and go to the museum, get off. We spend the day at the museum. We do the planetarium, the IMAX theater, and lunch, and get back on the bus about 4:30 to come back to school, and we're back about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Any questions, comments? Member Hurd?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the field trip request to the Boston Museum of Science.
Seconded by Member Charpentier. Any further discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Have fun.
Yay.
Agenda item number 7 is to receive and potentially vote on a field trip request for the senior class trip to Apex Entertainment and Solomon Pond Mall in Marlborough, Mass. And Gabrielle will present.
Hi, I'm Gabby Blay. I'm the senior class advisor. The seniors are amazing. If you don't know any of them, go talk to them. I have Fadumo Ahmed right here. She's our secretary, and Tartila Nasser, and they're going to tell you a little bit about our trip.
So we plan on going to Apex Entertainment. It's in Boston. It's in Massachusetts, yes. The students arrive at the high school at 6:30 a.m. and we meet at the gym, and they get assigned chaperones. We have about 11 chaperones, each have about 20 students. And they go on the buses around 7 a.m. using charter buses. And yes, at the Apex Entertainment, there's bowling, pizza, arcade, mini golf, and laser tag, and we plan on having a little fun from about 10 to 2.
And then we would leave Apex Entertainment at roughly 2, head to Solomon Pond Mall where there's a food court, and we would be there from 2 to 3 p.m. And then we would head back to LHS at 3 p.m. and then stop at Kennebunk Rest Area and then get back to LHS by 6 using the Northeast Charter, where each bus will have snacks and water for all the students.
Any questions or comments? Member Bowden?
I'd just like to make a motion to approve this trip for the senior class to Massachusetts.
I'll second that.
Too many seconds.
It wasn't Craig, it was Phoenix.
Oh.
All in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank
Have a
you.
good time. Agenda item number 8 is to receive and potentially vote on a field trip request for the SkillsUSA National Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. And Jess will come back up.
We brought the whole crew with us tonight.
We did.
Why don't you guys let the kids go over that way?
Or how about they stand in the
Notice the bling.
A lot of gold.
Right?
Jake, we have 2 slots. Do you want it to go all at once, or do you want it separated?
I was told that there was 2 parts for us to present on the skills and for the. It was on separately, but I didn't know if you wanted it all together at once.
No, 8 and 9.
I think you can share the information on both and the school committee could just take them up. They gotta do one at a time, but you could share both.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Matt West. I'm the Assistant Director at Lewiston Regional Tech Center. Glad to be here. We have 5 students up here who represent SkillsUSA, of which Ms. Dewan and Mr. Kennedy were just honored with a presentation by the superintendent. And I would like to add my 2 cents, which will be half a second, quadruple what Mr. Langley said. It is a massive undertaking for what our advisors do every single year to get all of these students and get them to through the locals, through the states, and then to the nationals. It starts at the beginning of the year and it ends in early July is when it ends. It's the whole school year. So just want to put that up there. So who we have here tonight, we have Indiga Parker, who is going to nationals for internet working. And he is a returning student going to nationals for the 2nd time. And that is a very big achievement. Next to him, we have Huda Aden, who is our state officer. She was honored. If you don't know what a state officer is she works tirelessly throughout the school year, representing SkillsUSA, not only for us, but throughout the entire state. So it's a great honor.
Team of 5, that's it, that represent the whole state.
And then we have Heather Busau, who is our EMT representative. She is a junior in EMT, and this is the 2nd year for this program. And to have an EMT student go on to nationals is a great honor, and congratulations to you, because that's awesome. And I could say the same for the person standing right next to you, to your left, Sadie Kelsey, who's in cosmetology, another 2nd year program that we have over at Edward Little High School. She's going to the nationals as well to compete, and you're all going to do great, right? And last but not least, we have Jenna Karen, who's for Job Skills Demonstration A for cosmetology. Two nationals, so we're very proud of that. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hand it over to Jess and Paul, and they're going to go through the logistics for the financial piece and what it's going to take.
Jess, I know there's multiple documents here. Just let me know which piece you want up and when.
All right, so I figured that I could start it by the fun piece, right? We put together a small video to show you what these guys went through and what we did. Gives a little bit of information. I tried to put everything together that Mr. Callahan was telling me to bring a bunch of information. I said, rather than print everything, I figured you might want to watch a video instead. So this is kind of puts them through and gives you some information on it. And it leads up to the trip that we'll be taking. Blair's, it does have music, so can't have a good video without music, right? But that was a total of over 500 of our students needed locally. Thank you. A mini bus, 2 15-passenger buses, and 4 minivans in order to get our team. It was pretty impressive. That is one of the arenas that they competed in.
That's me, DC, the brain supreme, and my man Steve Rowland. We're kicking the flow. And it goes a little something like this. Tag team, back again. Check it, directed, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump, jump, rejoices. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These 3 words mean you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, Hitman. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it's time for to get on the mic and make this mother party hot. I'm taking it back to the old school, cause I'm an old fool who's so cool. If you wanna get down, I'ma show you the way.
If you can't tell, all the
There it is, let me hear you say.
they were really enjoying themselves being able to show off.
Point blank, gin and juice I drink and bent as a puff on dank. Rock the mic.
In case you didn't know, Rob was awarded the Cornerstone Award. This was by a former LRTC student. Maggie had come before you in the past few years, Maggie Shepard. She was a two-time returning national student, and she also was our first state officer that Lewiston ever had. She was an amazing representation, and she put Mr. Callahan forward, so he was recognized in front of everybody for this. And this is their little dance party right at the award ceremony as they're getting all their nerves out before it starts. It's a massive ceremony that we have up there. We were completely sold out for public, and our chaperones and advisors like to do the dancing with us.
In the middle of a railroad track, underground, and I knew there was no turning back.
That is all LRTC on that song.
My mind raced, and I thought, what could I do? From you, sound of the drums beating in my heart, the thunder of guns.
These are our three that we currently have that were awarded recognition there. They completely run the entire opening ceremony themselves. Stepping from students who couldn't even barely speak into a microphone to students who actually run the entire production. A bit of our
Every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up, and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
We by far had the largest conference participation out of the whole state.
Ludacris going in on the verse, cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the
That
homies
was
that
our
ain't
whole
making my folks
group
lock
there.
down. I never went nowhere. What they saying, Luda's back. Blame it on that contour.
All right, so that was a little bit, so you could kind of see what they go through from at the state level. And to get to that, we broke it up into technical and leadership competitions. As you could see, we over 180 voluntarily signed up for those leadership competitions, which prepared speech. There was community service projects. There was a lot of stuff that's really beneficial for them. And then the technical aspect, we had students compete in 3, 4, 5 competitions just because they wanted to show their skills so much. So we are here to ask for permission for their trip for all 13 that we are taking to Atlanta, Georgia. They'd be flying out June 23rd and returning on June 28th. And then they will compete against the top probably 10% of the country.
And just real quickly, I'll scroll through this, but we're gonna post these out publicly also. These are, so just a quick spreadsheet of the results. So we have all these students, is it 12 gold?
There's 13 gold.
13 gold, okay.
10 competitions.
In 10 different competitions, okay.
Some are teams. So the students who weren't able to be here tonight, we have a teaming partner between one of my students in multimedia and our IT program, because some allow that collaboration, and they actually built their own game engine. So like if a student goes, or anybody goes online and goes to build a little game, they built the engine to build the games. And so they won, they blew the rest of the competition away. That was another set that's going to be going up with us.
And how many silvers were there?
A lot.
Do you, I know there's a lot.
Silvers, I think there were maybe 29,
29,
30,
30.
somewhere right around there. And then, you know, the majority were golds and silvers, which was pretty amazing.
Mhm. 48 different medals, I believe.
There was 49 total.
49 top
Yeah.
medals.
There was 49 total. And the more golds we won, the more heart alerts I got of like, oh no, fundraising. So, but we're very proud of what they did. And I do have that one other Google slide on there that kind of gives a little bit of an outline for how we're breaking it down. If Jake can find it. There we go. So 9 students attending this national conference are for the first year programs in LRTC. So it just goes to show that even a student attending 1 year is getting a lot. And when they go to the state conference, they're in the top 10% of the state as it is. And then to win that, to go to nationals is pretty amazing. And so to know that 9 of our students, 9 of the 13 are first year students is pretty amazing. And 4 are returning students, and to have another state winner going back again. And he is determined. He is coming home with a medal from nationals this year. It's pretty amazing. So our cost per student is about $2,300 per student for that cost. That covers like the registrations. It covers the hotels. It's an expensive conference, but it is well worth every penny for what it does for students. I will say, I'll use Indy right here. Indy is a student that last year was kind of a hot mess going to states. He was really nervous, couldn't talk to people, never could make eye contact. And we sent him to nationals. We gave him a few pins in hand, and he got out there and started talking to everybody across the country. So it was pretty amazing, the transition. We've put him on the spot quite a few times to speak, and he can do that. So we're really proud of him. The change that it makes is really great. So it's worth all that money. So our trip total is looking at about $30,000 for the 13 students. And if we can go to the next slide, it's just a listing of some fundraising stuff that we're having to start building up that money. We will be having a concert raffle. By the end of the week, they'll have that. And we had 2 tickets donated by Bangor Waterfront Concerts, and it's for Bret Michaels, that throwback for in the 80s bands. So Bret Michaels was with Poison, Vince Neil was with Motley Crue, and Stephen Pearcy was with Rat. So it'll be anxious. I'm anxious to see if these are going to sell. I've already sold like 8 of them before I even have printed the tickets yet. So
We're aiming for parents and grandparents.
yeah. And then in May, we will be having a cornhole tournament again, like we had last year with raffles and 50-50. Burnt Ends sponsors us for that, and they give us a portion. They gave us over $2,000 last year for it, which was absolutely amazing. It's a portion of however much food they sell. We have an ongoing bottle drive at LRTC, and we work with Roopers on that. And then in July, we're doing our first ever car show, which we'll hope to bank a little bit for this next year, work a little ahead of time. And so that'll be hosted out here in front of the Green Ladle, and we're hoping to bring in a lot of extra money with that one. They're very successful. It's already being published in the car show book, so it's already bringing people into us. The last thing that they'll be doing is they'll be going out and asking our advisory board members and their family and friends for donations to help go to it. It works so much better than trying to sell something all the time. So we're looking to try to get what we can get out of here. We have asked some of the students to ask their sending schools also for a little bit of help. And so that's kind of where we're looking at to try to get that money in.
So you have a couple of things in front of you, but number 8 is just approval, if you approve to go to the conference in Atlanta.
Member Bowden?
Thank you. I'm so excited to see so many gold and silver winners this year, and bronze, but obviously I'm a mom who had a child in this who won a gold medal and went to Atlanta a couple years ago, and it was such a phenomenal experience for her. And as a mom, like, I saw everything that happens, everything that you guys do behind the scenes, from the uniforms and making sure every little thing is perfect and tucked in, and the points that can get deducted if it's not. And so I know what an incredible experience this is. And I am so thrilled to make the nomination to approve this field trip to Atlanta. Come.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Agenda item number 9 is also another field trip for LRTC.
So that's a Assistant Director Matt West thing. Before any students go away, is there any way we can get a picture of you biting your gold?
Did we?
You gotta do both. You gotta like.
Yeah,
We
you
already
gotta
did
do
number
both.
10 though, right? That was their skills presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, last year. Information technology services.
So one thing I will say about Indy is he's competing again this year for the second time, but he's competing in a different competition than last
Yep.
year. So he's decided to stretch his talents even further.
All right, so the other piece was to receive the skills competition update, which was number 10. So I feel like we've satisfied 8 and 10.
Yes.
And then we just need number 9. So that's a different trip though. Yeah, okay, all right.
These guys should be all set.
I think so. Did we miss anything?
Not
I
that I
think
know.
we're good. Thank you so much. That was a
Thank
great
you.
presentation. Thank you for the
Thank
visuals.
you.
Very helpful.
Bring home some more gold, guys.
They make us look good. That's their job. So I'm here to ask permission for our food, travel and tourism program to go down to Portland for SMCC to visit their hospitality program. This is an overnight trip. The accommodations are rather spectacular. They sleep in their hospitality building, which is an old industrial building, and it overlooks the bay. So pretty exciting. They did it last year. They've done it for a few years. All the funding for this trip will go through the Green Ladle Activity Fund. There will be no funds expected from students at all.
Is there a motion? Member Hurd?
I would like to make a motion to approve the LRTC trip to Southern Maine Community College.
I'll second that.
All in favor? It is also unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have fun.
Thanks.
Agenda item number 11, to receive the homeless navigator update.
So there in an earlier agenda, there was the robotics trip, which was amended today because you actually gave them permission to go on their trip last meeting. And then shortly coming up, we should have an update from them because they competed.
My cousin's child was competing against them. They said that our team did very well.
I want to make sure of the right.
Oh, it's already on. Now you've heard it off.
I'm Natasha Turcott. I am the Student and Family Engagement Coordinator and also the District Liaison for McKinney-Vento and Foster Care Homeless Youth.
Jenny Darrigan, District Federal Programs Coordinator for Lewiston. And Natasha and I have been working on a project together to help get it off the ground and implemented. So we're here to give you an update about that tonight. The one thing I wanted to mention was that where the funding came from. The Maine State Legislature has provided funding directly to Maine Housing. And we have benefited because Maine Housing had then made that same funding available to school districts. We were able to apply. It was a competitive application process. And so we were very thankful to be awarded funds to get this project started. The funds are designated for paying for a housing specialist to position itself, and then having some additional discretionary funds available for the housing specialist to utilize when serving families. For some key project overview to this work, sorry, the next slide. Thank you. LPS has partnered with Community Concepts to conduct the work. Community Concepts are some of our local housing experts. So we have brought them in to really conduct the work. Our grant period for this project is February 10th this current year through February 9th of next year. It's scheduled for a one-year project at this time. However, it's very hopeful that the state of Maine may vote to extend the project for another 2 years. If that is the case, additional funds will become available, and Lewiston would certainly be applying for those as well. The current amount received is about $170,000. Again, it's paying for all costs associated with the housing specialist position and some discretionary funds, so that position has the ability to pay for some of the items you see listed here: application fees, security deposits, and utility payments. And really, those are our three main the main expenses you'd see on this grant. Like all grants, when we get involved, we have a lot of reporting requirements that we need to tend to. This one has additional professional learning opportunities that we'll be participating in. Natasha, myself, our community concepts crew, along with Maine Housing folks. And we are meeting regularly with that team to complete all of the work that we need to do as a larger group, and also just ensure everybody is updated on how the project's going.
So for eligibility for this program, so we have our students who are identified as McKinney-Vento, and those students are identified as students who are lacking, and families that are lacking a fixed regular nighttime residence. So those students might be living in hotels, motels, cars, shelters, in a box truck, doubled up with other family members. That could be on couch surfing and or living in someone's basement. So those students get identified as McKinney-Vento, and I work closely with the housing navigator to get referrals of families that are engaged and want to take the next steps to secure housing. It's a long process. Housing is not easy to obtain, and it is a lot of work. And so those families that are engaged and want to take those next steps, I connect them with our housing navigator, and from there, our housing navigator will reach out to them, connect with them, engage, and just figure out what their needs are and what the next steps are. We have already started getting a lot of applications already before we contracted with her. So a lot of families are already, moving forward. And so there is a lot of work that was already done, and now she's just taking the lead with it and doing her expertise of housing navigation. So at the moment, we are established with Community Concepts, and I've referred 15 families, which is 34 students. So a caseload, she said about 20 families. So I've put on 15 so far that are engaged and wanting to work through this program. And 2 families have already secured housing this week, and they got to move in. And also just they've secured the housing, and we've also been able to help them with like pots and pans and dishware and towels and just the basic needs to move into an apartment. And so 11 families are also on their way to securing housing. So they've already filled out the applications and or made the next steps to get into that process. And so our goal is to continue keeping engaging with these families, the ones that I do want to, take those next steps and continue filling up her caseload and getting as many families into secured housing as possible. We do have 440 active identified students at the moment. And so the lower, as long as we can keep, plugging away at those numbers and securing these kids' houses is our goal.
Questions or comments from the committee? Counselor Harriman.
Thank you. So you said this is a one-year grant and there's a potential to renew it. If it doesn't get renewed, would the program just sort of shut down at that point, unfortunately, or what would happen?
So we do have her Community Concepts. We do have that contract for the year. And so after that year, we can still refer. So
It could be, we don't get the funding, but Community Concepts might get a funding grant. So it all depends, there are other housing navigation services and other, Community Concepts does have other programs that they run. So there is case managers and other resources in the community that we already were referring to. But what's special about this is that Community Concepts is solely just working with our students. So we will continue doing what we were doing prior to, but this is, a very unique opportunity for her to just only work with our students. So.
Member McLaughlin.
Thanks. Do you have a sense of how, excuse me, how many families you would like to refer through this person already? Like, do you kind of have the pipeline in mind? Is that the bottleneck? Yeah.
So, when she says, a caseload of 20, some move very quickly and some, take a little bit longer. So if we can, continue just referring, a number I couldn't give you, but my goal is to refer as many families and get, and we work as a team. So it's not just, we all kind of help out as we can. So yeah, a lot of
what this grant can cover are expenses that are the current funding we have available to us as a district are not allowed to cover. So I've used the term braiding funds before. This is another example of trying to address all the needs of our students and families with a variety of different funding sources. So this one's really targeted for the housing barriers that our families are experiencing.
Is this benefiting like unaccompanied students that are homeless as well, or just families?
So at the moment, I do not have any unaccompanied on that list. A lot of our unaccompanied, if they're 18 and older, we can connect them with New Beginnings, and they have a special program for young adults. And then any younger kids, unfortunately, we can't get them into housing under 18. And so we're helping secure, other placements for those kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Agenda item number 12 is to receive and potentially vote on the 21st Century Grant application.
I am staying up to join Gretchen, but again, Jenny Darrigan, Federal Program Coordinator.
I'm Gretchen Pleasant, the 21st Century Program Director for Lewiston Public Schools.
Thank you. We have been preparing applications for this current round of 21st Century after school and summer program work. So this is what we've prepared for you today is like an overview of where we're at in that process, a description of the key points to that as well. And then Gretchen has some really fun and program information to share at the end, along with some student pictures that we get to continue to celebrate the wonderful things happening in Lewiston here. So 21st Century, I just wanted to give a foundational review of where 21st Century funds come from. So this is a federally funded initiative and program. And the U.S. Department of Education makes 21st Century program funds available to states. And then the state of Maine, in turn, opens up an application process for school districts to apply. This one is a competitive application process as well. And when I refer to a competitive application, it means that it is based on a score and criteria. So not all applicants will be awarded. It's really the opposite of many of our other federal programs that are allocation grants. This one is a competitive grant. Lewiston has been offering 21st Century programs since 2012. So we have been seeking and have been awarded funding for quite a while. Let's see. We are applying right now for four 21st Century sites. This gets a little difficult to explain because the 21st Century sites or applications, I should say, we apply initially for a year one, And then each site that we are awarded has a 4-year cycle to it. So not all of our schools or not all of our 21st century sites right now are on that same exact cycle. So we are right now at this time putting forward applications for 4 of our Lewiston Public School sites. And we are going to be continuing on a final year for 2 of our other program sites. The grant period for this upcoming year is a July to June. So our upcoming summer and our upcoming 25-26 after school program would be covered with these funds, or some of these funds. Again, we do braid for this program as well. The applications being submitted at this time total $502,600. We would be hearing about award at some point in June, hopefully early June, so we can continue with our planning. There's a few requirements of contribution for this grant. We have a requirement to pay for at least 35% of our student transportation cost for every year that we are participating. And in addition to that, we have to cover 3% decrease every year that the cycle moves forward. So for example, year 1, we receive a full amount for a 21st century site, our full request. The following year, that amount from the state decreases by 3%. And then the following year, another 3%. And then the 4th year of the cycle, an additional 3%. So it's a built-in sustainability model for 21st century grants. And so I mentioned that so that we are aware of our district contribution amounts as we move forward. The 21st century programs we employ our Lewiston Public School staff with these programs, and we serve our Lewiston Public School students. And very similar to all of our grant work, we make an agreement to participate in all the grant requirements, professional development activities that are included. And one real successful requirement, but very successful activity for us right now is our stakeholder group. We have an advisory board that meets quarterly for 21st century, and it has our building administration attend regularly, our 21st century site coordinators attend regularly, and we have several community and partner folks that also attend very regularly to that.
And I just kind of wanted to give you a program overview of what we actually do in 21st century. So the 21st century program focuses mainly on STEM and literacy activities. We do this through hands-on learning, but we also have other components that we are required to meet. Their health and wellness, youth leadership, nutrition education, and visual and performing arts. During the school year, we run for 2 hours after school every day, 4 days a week. We don't run on Wednesdays. Teachers have professional development on Wednesdays. And in the summer, we run for 4 hours a day for 6 weeks during the summer. During the school year, students are provided 1 meal after school. And during the summer, we provide breakfast and lunch for the students. Some of the partners that Jenny was discussing that we work with are Bates. We have a lot of Bates students that do volunteer work with us in the afternoon. We work also with Fork Farms, who we got our hydroponic units, which you're going to see some pictures of. We have at least 1 hydroponic unit in each school where students are learning how to grow plants with just water. And we also partner with 4-H, Girl Scouts, and Girls on the Run. So they're all part of our community partners. And this program is, like Jenny said, run with our LPS staff, which is totally different than the most programs are run in Maine. So our staff that runs the program also could possibly teach these students during the day. So it gives them an extra 2 hours with the student to fill in those learning gaps or social and emotional learning gaps. And they're able to connect with that student's classroom teacher if they're not that person, to bridge those gaps even more. And then I wanted to show you some pictures of all the activities that we do. We do a lot of science experiments in all different grade levels. They do a lot of cooking, and they're actually preparing the food. They have to get the ingredients. They have to do the measuring. They actually have to cut the vegetables and cook and clean up. So they do the whole process. They don't just do the fun parts. They have to do the work. We also had students in that right-hand corner work with the Girls on the Run, and they studied famous women in history, and they made a mural. Those are some of our Connors students that did a mural on the wall at Connors. And you have there, the next one, we do woodworking in all of the schools, and I show you these pictures to show how it looks different across all the grade levels. We have in the middle with the pine cones and the feathers, we have the rising pre-Kers and kindergartners they collected pine cones and they made birds out of the pine cones. And then we have some of the older elementary school students who made cornhole boards. And then the middle school students did some basket weaving, and they actually work with the power tools to build different wooden projects. And then these students, we have sewing and quilting across all grade levels and all schools. Just looks different. Might be plastic needles for our kindergartners doing hand stitching, and then our older students are using the sewing machines and the quilting long arm at the middle school. But they actually create their patterns on paper, and then they cut the fabric and they actually make their item. And then this is the flex form hydroponic units from Fork Farms. Like I said, each school has at least one of these units, and the students learn about all of the plant parts, what plants are edible and what parts are edible. They actually plant the seeds, sprout the seeds. They learn about testing all of the pH in the units and learn when the plants need to be fed. Then they harvest them. There's a picture of our elementary students at McMahon harvesting parsley, and they learn how to dry it so that it's shelf stable and they can use it in cooking later. So that's just a snippet of all the things that we do in 21st century.
One thing I want to add, we've talked about some different things in the budget process, but when Jenny mentioned the 3% reduction every year as part of that sustainability model, but what 21st Century is looking for is that the local municipality or local school department takes on the sustainability component of that cost. That's why there's that depreciating commitment from 21st Century funding. The other component I think is important is anytime we renegotiate wages for the people that also work in these spaces, it has an impact. So if wages go up, the grant still has its metric and its deductions. So you can see things in like year 4 when you've lost 12% of the funding, plus you have your transportation contribution. Those are all set in place. They don't, trust me, they don't bend any rules. But you could also have increased staff costs. So when we talk about budget, this is more for public. I know you know this, but when we talk budget and increase wages and salaries, it also spills over into some of these after school and summer type programming. So if you have a set rate and it goes up, we need additional funds to keep it whole. So just as a side note.
Any questions, Member Bowden?
Thank you. So with these, I seem to remember 21st Century kind of running summer school. Is that correct? Would this keep summer school going in our elementary schools?
Good.
Sure, I can speak to that. Whoops, sorry. The 21st Century funds that we are seeking are really only enough to support our after-school program. And so what we've done historically and plan to continue to do is seek different funds for our summer programs, even though the programs are all meeting the 21st Century program model. We're running 21st Century programs. We just may be utilizing other funds to support them. For this upcoming summer, after walking out of our ESER COVID relief funds that were very specific to summer and after school program, and we made the most of that we could. We have submitted an application for Title I reallocation funds, and those are the funds that would be paying for the bulk of our summer program this coming summer. And this is the same funding source we used to apply for prior to COVID, Title I reallocation. It's unspent Title I funds across the state that the state pushes back out for us to apply for. So we are hoping at this point that that's going to cover the bulk of summer programming, and we would still be braiding to pull summer off also, and to maintain the size program that we want to be running and serve the amount of students we want to be running.
Okay.
You can add to that, but
Yeah,
for
I think
funding-
the only thing I would add is it's an application that
Mhm.
it's not a given. It's so
Correct.
we could actually not get that. And with the funding scenario, with all the things going on out there, I do worry about that, but fingers crossed that we do get that.
Jenny, am I correct in that with 21st Century Grant, we are required to show that we will have a summer program?
Yes, so that is another requirement of being an awardee.
Okay.
So we are promising to provide summer program. We're not promising a certain level per se, but we're promising to provide summer program in some way in our district. And same with our after-school program. The last few years, we've had a very robust both summer and after-school program, and that had a lot to do with our available ESER funding. So we're looking at that right now, being as proactive as we can to maintain program size, summer and after school.
I just want to emphasize the braiding piece, in that if you don't have the 35% towards transportation and you can't make up that 3% diminishing grant component, and you can't make up for the wage increase, you don't have the local funds to run the summer programming, which would then violate that piece of programming, and you don't get the reallocation, you face that scenario. This is what I was talking about earlier in the budget process of, it would be a bit of a perfect storm, but it could be so tight that you have to look up and say, we have to deny the 21st century funds because we can't meet the obligations of the grant and also not have summer and also not be able to transport. So when we braid things together, we make things happen, but if you can't braid my hair because there's no funds there.
I guess my next question is, with these enrichment programs, with the after-school program, are students earning, I'm not going to say credit recovery because it's like elementary level, but like, are they able to work towards different standards that they need to meet? Are they getting credit towards their classes and their grades for this work that they're doing?
They
Or
are
is this
working on standards, but they do not get credit for towards their classwork.
okay?
So
It's an enriching and enhancement program, so it's really meant to be in those reasons. Yeah.
So kids may get some help on some homework or
Mhm.
some, tutoring from the Bates kids or whatever, Gretchen can coordinate. But no, there's no issuing of credits in those spaces.
Okay. And
That's-
how do
That's
you,
a different, so like when we think of summer school, like credit or remediation, that is not this. That is a separate component altogether.
how do you pick the students that are a part of this program? Because
They apply. It's
Yeah, they have to apply to the program. And we meet with teachers, we meet with school counselors and school administrators. And students are referred to us, but they have to be a low performing student. That's part of the grant requirements, to bridge that gap in their learning. So we have to report all of their state testing and all of their grades to the state to prove that they are a low performing student and need our services.
Okay, thank you.
Member Eames?
Your question was my question, but then now I have a different thing to say. It is that correct me if I'm wrong, but at the elementary level, you don't get credits, you just get assessed, right? So this is helping with moving them along in the assessment process. It's not a matter of reclaiming credits. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
the only thing credit bearing is ninth grade up. Yeah.
Member Hurd?
Thank you. So on that assessment piece, elementary literally makes no sense when you go in and they say, we're actually grading you on this, but we haven't reached that, or we haven't started teaching that yet. So actually we have to give you a 1 or a 2 because you haven't actually learned that standard yet. It's very, very,
It's in progress.
it makes no sense. I just have to put that 2 cents out there.
So with this grant, like many of our other grants, we actually use our normed assessments as to show progress. So one of the goals, or several of the goals for the 21st century applications, are based on students' growth within the NWEA assessment, which happens to be our state assessment now. So all students in the program, that's data that we have to pull and submit to show in our performance report the progress that they made. So it's we have to set a percentage as to how much they're going to improve.
So my actual question was, is the 3% already in our budget?
So right now, yes, we have the money pledged to support. But if we get this grant in June, it'll spill quickly into that next cycle of the next budget, where we'd be asking for that additional 3% this time next year for the following year. But yes, it's currently budgeted.
And so my other question is, in the current budget, if we don't get awarded the unspent Title I funds for summer school, we will have 0 funds in our current budget for summer school.
We wouldn't have 0 funds for summer school. We have some funds, but the robust programming that we're hoping to offer needs all of these different sources of revenue.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
We're just making note that the separation of these programs, so those funds wouldn't be for that. Like the reallocation funds don't go to that programming. But we can satisfy that program's requirement of summer programming using funds from elsewhere. If that makes, like I said, it's a bit of a, you say braid, I say we, but go ahead, Karen.
So if we don't receive the 21st century grant funds, and we don't receive the Title I reallocation funds, then we will have a very small amount of money to be able to have a summer program at the elementary level and middle school level, and going into next year, very small, if any, after school programming. If we receive the Title I fund, the 21st century funds, and we don't receive the Title I funds, we won't have a summer program, which means we're not going to meet our obligation for the 21st century grant. So the 3% is different than, so the 3% that we're talking about that we have to put forth is there, but what we still have to provide an opportunity for some sort of summer programming. So we would have very little, if no funds, to do the summer programming with the current budget as you had voted on it, going forward.
And I'd like to just add to that, that the applications for 21st century that we're submitting right now, there's 3 separate applications that cover 4 program sites. So one of the application is a multi-site application, and the other 2 are single site applications. We could be awarded one of the applications we're submitting, 2, or all 3. So best case scenario is we've put forward 3 applications that will score Lewiston high, and we will be able to secure another 4 years for those specific sites that we're submitting for. But yes, we've done a lot of multi-site programs in the past. This year we did a couple single sites because we were allowed to request some more money. So we made a change to do it that way. So I just bring that up as it's really 3 awards we're hoping to receive and not just 1.
Are we currently in year 4 at Montello and LMS?
At Geiger and
At
McMahon.
LMS.
Oh,
We're.
oh,
we're
currently, yes.
Currently. Montello doesn't currently have a.
Okay,
21st
so
century
this
program.
summer, even if worst case scenario, the 3 that you're submitting now weren't approved, will the ones that are on year 4 still have a program this summer?
The program, no.
Well,
The program
we're
ends.
thinking about the cycle differently. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the program ends for LMS and LHS and Connors and Farwell this school year.
At the end
So,
of the school year,
at
so
the
in
end of
June,
the school
essentially.
year.
Okay.
Mhm.
But so Geiger and McMahon will be in year 4 this summer. So they would have a summer program if we don't get the other awarded.
So if nothing changes as of right now, at least Geiger and McMahon would have a program.
Right.
Okay, that's what I was trying to ask. Thank you. Member McLaughlin?
Is this a new approach to setting the funds up like this, or is this exactly how it's been the last 4-year cycle? So it's these multiple grants from multiple sources at the state level?
Yes.
It's, at least from a 21st century perspective, these criteria have been that way since 2012 when it came in. And the reallocation grants we've applied for numerous times, and we're hopeful we'll get it, but if we don't, it makes things hard to do.
Member Hurd?
Thank you. Are you looking to add any additional sites with this request, or I don't actually know the word that to use for it, I guess.
We are shifting program. We're going to continue, our hope is to continue to run program at 6 sites. Montello has not been a 21st century site. But is applying for this round for 21st century funding. And the high school has been a 21st century site, and we are not applying for the high school 21st century program this upcoming year. So we've just switched the high school out for Montello. That was based on really the amount of students to be served.
And student feedback, really,
yeah.
The requirement for the program is that they attend so many days of the year. And that is a very big part of the requirements that we have to meet. And the students at that age, they want to work. They want to be in track or football or baseball or soccer. And so they have a lot of other activities at the high school. And we thought we could spend our funds more wisely by doing it at Montello than.
Anything else from anyone? You're good? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We don't have to.
Yes, we actually don't have to vote on this because we're just submitting them.
Agenda item number 13 is to receive and potentially vote on the fiscal year 24 cost center detail.
So I emailed some updated language too, but this is part of the audit process we just went through. We talked with the finance subcommittee also. This is really just to close out that financial component because money is between articles, and that was presented to us. And this is the first time it's been said to us that you need to vote on that last piece. And so we said, okay, let's do it. And so that detail is in front of you. And if there are any questions, please let us know. And
Member Eames?
So the big money for facilities, was that 287? No.
no,
Okay, so maybe you can explain that?
Bill can.
Yeah. So, no, it's not. Part of that was we were closing out the costs of Connors. Okay. And so bonds, if there's money that's left over from that state money, and I'm really kind of just trying to make it simple. And so when that closed out, there was some funds in there that those funds first go back to pay back the bond. So those monies had to show up as an expenditure for about to the tune of $200,000, which wasn't budgeted. And then there was a revenue that offset that. So that was a big part of the facilities. The other thing was, you might remember we were engaging in starting the door access controls and cameras. And so there was, in doing like year-end kind of projections, we knew we had some funding in the facility or in the budget that we could put towards facilities to purchase that stuff. So, yep.
Any other questions? Somebody want to make a motion? Member Heard?
I will make a motion to approve the FY 24 cost center detail.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 14 is to review and potentially vote on the second read of the following policies A through D.
So, oh,
I was just gonna make a motion where it's the second reading. That's okay? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second read of the following policies listed A through D.
Is there a second? Seconded by member Bowden. All in favor? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 15 is to review and potentially vote on the first read of the following policies A through H. Did you want to speak on this one?
no, all I was gonna say was there's nothing that has been changed. So I didn't need to say it because you just went ahead and so thank you. Okay, so there's quite a list here. So let me give you a little bit of an update. So IJJ which was the instructional and library media materials selection. That was one that we had done a first read on, I don't know, a few meetings ago. The committee asked for it to go back to the policy subcommittee based on some feedback that we had received from some staff and the public. So the policy subcommittee has taken a look at that. We've made some changes. So it's back in front of you for a first read again. The policies that are B through F are updated policies based on the Title IX changes from the federal government. So the suggested changes are based on the 2022 laws and policies. So it's actually, it reads the same as it did back in 2022. So there's basically just reverting back, but you'll see that there have been some updates. And basically it's taking the sexual harassment and putting them back together in policy rather than separating them. So those are the changes in those policies. And then G is the public comment at school committee meetings, and we'd been talking about that one, and the policy subcommittee had worked on that. And H is the blurb that the chair reads at the beginning of public comment, and that's only there for you to see it. It doesn't necessarily need to be voted on, but if we vote on B, E, D, H and make those changes, we needed to change that blurb. So we just wanted it to be there for you to see it. So those are the updates.
Member Eames, did you?
Thank you. Member voted. No, it's okay. I just have a question because the public comment preamble that you have here, this is brand new, right? Like policy committee created this specifically around based on the suggested changes in the public comment policy that we are suggesting. Okay.
We didn't reinvent the wheel, though. This exists in other places.
So this already existed. This wasn't, you guys didn't just
exists
like come
elsewhere.
up with all these bullet
Correct.
points. This already existed.
Correct.
Is there still work that can be done to this? Like if I had a suggestion, like is that something that could possibly be looked at? Should I give that suggestion now? Okay. So obviously one of the bullets is all speakers shall identify themselves by sharing their name, town, city of residence. And then the next bullet says the school committee will first hear public comments from residents and employees of the district. If time remains in the allotted period, the chair may permit comments from non-residents. I'm wondering if we could just have non-residents submit like a written comment to the school committee. I've never understood why someone from a different town or city who has no children in our district, no business in the city of Lewiston, why would they come to our school committee meetings? It doesn't make sense to me. So that's something that's always perplexed me. So I just wonder if just getting written testimony from people from outside of Lewiston who have something that they want to share with us, just for the sake of saving time in our meetings, I guess.
That would be a change to the policy also, because there's language in BEDH that aligns with non-residents.
I think the rules of public meetings, you have to at
allow
least
everyone.
allow some opportunity for, even if it's non-resident public comment. I do know that there are a lot of groups outside of here that have gone to a place where when you do close the window, you can open it if you wish, but always invite people to submit things in writing if they'd like. So you can have a window, but I don't think you can just close it altogether to other comment.
And BEDH, the policy has language in there about submitting written comments also. It's not in the blurb, but it's in the policy. Member Eames.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is, the policy, BEDH, is coming from state law and also the MSBA, the Maine School Board Association. So, shutting all comment down from non-residents is not an option. Trying to figure out how to move it to a certain place and make it perhaps shorter.
There was,
was
go ahead.
was something we were trying to work out, but I don't think we're allowed to scotch it all together. So as much as I appreciate where that's coming from and totally agree in principle, I don't think we can do it that way. So this is how we came up with it. We can still talk about this though.
It has the 30-minute limit, and we prioritize local residents and parents, staff. And then if that fills up the 30 minutes, then that's who gets to speak for the 30 minutes. And if there's still time remaining, then they get an option.
I can check though, just to make sure that specifically what the language reads as.
Yep, go ahead.
But I was at the conference, I was at the session about public comment, and that is what they said. So I'm pretty sure that you're not going to find a way out.
Member Heard.
Thank you. So the public comment preamble, that's what you're gonna read?
That's instead of what I always
Instead of
read,
what you
yes.
read now. That's okay. So that was my question, because I was gonna say, if you're reading it, then we shouldn't post it. But if you're not reading it, then I say we should probably post it
It'll
where people
replace,
sign
it
in.
will replace on the agenda what's on there now.
Phew, okay.
Yes.
I think it needs to be shorter. I mean, that's my opinion.
We cut it
It-
down from what was from another district. Yeah, there was a
But-
much longer one from another
Okay.
district.
I mean, does every rule need to be read every time at the start of every public comment period? I guess that's kind of my,
I think that we need to have it posted by the signature
Yeah.
thing, definitely, so that people
Yeah.
can read it on their own also, but it's some districts read it every single time and it's twice as long.
yeah.
I know that.
That just strikes me as more of an inconvenience, I guess, more than anything, but if there's a way to make it shorter, that would be my suggestion.
And it
The
doesn't
other-
require a vote, so we can wordsmith it a little bit more too between now and the next
Right,
meeting.
That's a good point. One substantive thing though is just around the period of time. I guess one question is, is the 30 minutes and the 3 minutes per person, does that apply for engagement across the whole meeting, or is it just referring to the public comment time?
Public
So someone can come back multiple times.
For different subjects.
Right, yes,
Yes.
throughout the agenda items. Okay, I just want to clarify that. And the other piece maybe to consider, because I've seen this elsewhere, is would instead of allocating a maximum amount of time, so say 30 minutes, would it maybe seem more fair to have the option at the, committee or the chair's discretion to start limiting the amount of time per person? So say 2 minutes or one, like if there's 100 people here, are we just going to say, well, the first 10 people who get in line?
Oh, so in like
You
when
get
we
to
had
talk
the
to everyone,
conversations,
so-
I think it was around the SROs maybe, or masking, one of those really busy ones, we had to limit people, we had to reduce times because there were so many people that wanted to speak. So we've had to do that in the past.
I guess
When necessary, yeah.
that seems maybe a more fair approach to me, is to, because I just don't know how we cut, if there's a lot of people, if we just say like, well, 30 minutes is up, see you later.
I think if if a lot of people show up, we can we can say for tonight, we're gonna adjust it and adjust it how we want for that night.
So I guess,
The policy
Yeah.
allows you to extend that window. So if you all were sitting here, someone could make a motion to extend the window, similar to what the city does.
okay.
It's in the
but-
policy that we can extend it if we need to.
Yeah, it just, are we gonna extend it every time then? But that's fine. I guess the suggestion then would maybe just be to just have in writing that, I know you, as written, you could do this already, but just to make explicit that you, at the chair's discretion, you can start limiting below 3 minutes if there are a lot of people, you know?
necessary,
I
yeah.
think that would be good just to clarify up front. So,
That's
well,
more
you don't have to
words.
say it every time, but just, you know, that is an option. That's my thought on that.
Member Eames.
There's a bracket in here that needs to go out. So the idea was to cut words as much as possible.
It was hard to read with all the edits.
The policy?
Yes,
It's the way you're supposed to.
I
show
know.
it.
It just was didn't flow very well that way. Any other member, Counselor Harriman?
Thank you. I just wondered, are you planning to read that whole preamble with the bullet points as well, or just the paragraph at the beginning?
That was the intention, yes.
The whole thing? Okay. Because it does get a little long, and I agree with definitely, if we could print out a few copies of maybe the BEDH policy
Yes.
and leave it for the public to look over. Yeah, that would be helpful.
Member Eames?
That's what the policy says we have to do.
Member Hurd?
I would like to vote to approve the first read of the following policies listed A through H.
I have a question. I think someone wanted to make a motion to waive the second reading on G. So would you like to amend your motion to include A through F?
I would.
Okay, you're okay with seconding A through F? Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Member Eames?
Yeah, I would like to make a suggestion or a motion that we decide that we don't need a second reading for G, that the first reading is enough, and that we will then put this into effect immediately, for the next meeting. The preamble we can email
That
about.
doesn't matter, yeah. So you want to waive the second reading, so the policy goes into effect
That's what I was
immediately?
trying to say.
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Member McLaughlin?
Well, I mean, just my thought on having something explicit about being able to limit the comment per person to less than 3 minutes. I'm totally fine with waiving a second reading, but just at least that is my suggestion for a small amendment to the policy.
So that was the preamble piece. That's not actually policy. So that's where those edits would be made. The policy doesn't, what the
It's written
preamble
in BEDH.
but it can be modified by the chair. I think as written.
He wants it explicitly written that I don't,
No, I mean, it's a fair point. Maybe not. I mean, my point is that it should be explicit to anyone who reads it, so they don't feel kind of,
So it actually says, the last sentence in number 1 says, in unusual circumstances, the time limits in this paragraph, which are basically the bullet points about the 3 minutes and the 30 minutes. The time limits in this paragraph may be modified at a particular meeting at the discretion of the committee. So anybody on the committee can ask for it to be extended. Doesn't just
Or
have to be the
adjusted or-
chair.
right.
So that's in the policy. We can certainly add that to the preamble if you
That's fine.
want it.
Counselor Harriman?
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we went to public comment before we voted.
Any other questions? Nope. Public comment?
One, I don't think you should waive your second reading because the public, I'm the only one from the public who's really here right now. There could be people who object to some things in this article, who weren't here tonight, but could be here for your next meeting, where your second reading would be normally scheduled. The second is, how do we determine who are the 10 people who get to speak? Are we going to have a sign-up list now when we come through? Because you said you're going to prioritize Lewiston citizens and employees. Are the citizens more important than the employees? There are questions that need to be asked here. Also, 30 minutes, do you then extend it? Or do you go like the city council has done and put a second comment period at the end of the meeting? Which I know that we rarely use at city council meetings, but there are things you guys need to look at to where you go with things. I think the comment, I'll be honest, I think your public comment section is fair. I do agree with Member Lofton. It needs to be explicit when it can be shrunk, because sometimes you have 3 minutes to say your piece up here. And it's your time to give you guys our opinions. If you cut that down to 2 minutes, now your people are scratching out half their statements. On important items, we don't really want that, do we? You want to hear all our comments and listen to what we have to say.
Any further discussion from the committee? Oh, sorry. Oh, push the button, Melissa. The face, the one with the head and shoulders on it.
Technology, Amy. Melissa Dunn, Blake Street. I work with youth and community. I'm gonna make this quick. I wasn't here for the reading, so I might be missing something, but I think there's a couple important pieces. People who serve on a board, committee, things like that, the number one question people should be asking or considering is, what is the barriers to participation, whether it's interpretation or whatever the case may be. But ever rarely is it ever somebody speaking about away messaging or from away messaging, which is pretty, it's pretty reminiscent to anti-immigrant or xenophobia, hate speech, repeated from Moms for Liberty type stuff. That should be checked and addressed, no matter what's policy or not at the state level, because people's interpretation of that policy. There's a rigidity or rigidity in the mindset of public comment. And I think, you know, yes, it's important to prioritize employees and staff and students and families, but there's also people that work with youth that are not living here in town. But also, I think what's important is honoring that people can submit testimony anonymously with anonymity, even at city council. And also, if somebody is a domestic violence survivor or has a protection from abuse order or protection from harassment order, especially against cyber stalkers, that they've pursued total prohibition on weapons and even mental health evaluations, things like that. There should be a honoring of confidentiality or anonymity, just to keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Back to the committee. You're thinking, I see you thinking.
So the current motion is to vote waiving, wait, is the motion to approve?
To waive the second
motion is
reading.
just to waive, and then we vote separately on the actual policy. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say I think it is fair to have, I think it's fine to waive the second reading on this type of policy in particular, because it's setting up just how we will take public comment going forward. And that's something that we can adjust without a huge issue, in my opinion, in the future. So I'm okay with waiving the second reading in this case.
Thank you. Any other comment? All in favor? And opposed? No? Okay, it's unanimous. Now we need a motion to approve the first or the second read, to approve item G.
I guess it should be me who makes that motion. I'll make the motion to approve this. Usually I don't make motions on policy committee stuff because yeah, but this time I will.
Is there a second?
Yes, I will second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? It is also unanimous. Oh, was it?
No.
Oh, sorry. Opposed? One opposed.
But it's fine.
Okay.
My opinion.
Agenda item number 16 is a report from the chair. I do not have anything to report on this evening. Agenda item number 17 is a report from the superintendent.
Few things. We have a student rep update by way of video. So we're going to pull that up here. Just one second.
Hello, school committee, and hello, Lewiston School.
My apologies. I hit pause because of the delay. So we're good. I'll just let it play.
School committee and members of the public. My name is Will Diamond Stanek. I'm a junior here at LHS, and this is our second LHS Student Life Update. The week of this March 16th, we held our March Madness Spirit Week with 5 different day themes, culminating in our assembly on Friday, in which our 4 classes competed in a variety of fun challenges. Some of the fun challenges included a mattress race, random item musical chairs, and life-size Hungry Hungry Hippo. It's college acceptance season for seniors right now, and we are thrilled to announce that LHS will be sending 1 student to Harvard and 1 student to Yale this year. Congratulations to these students and to all LHS students who have been accepted into the college of their choosing. As AP season winds up, many of our AP classes have begun their final preparations for the tests in early May. We wish all of our AP students good luck on both their tests and on the mountain of homework piled up on their plates. Spring sports officially began this week, and our teams began practicing for their first games. This spring, LHS will field boys and girls track and field teams, a baseball team, a softball team, boys and girls lacrosse teams, and boys and girls tennis teams. Good luck to all LHS athletes with their seasons. LHS out.
Yeah, so I don't know how that will play out outwardly, but it on my computer it would look fine, but it was choppy and delayed here.
Up. Member Heard?
Thank you. Did we end up, do you know if our baseball team ended up being intramural or regular varsity? I know there was talk about our baseball team not having enough kiddos to be like an actual varsity team this year.
We're fielding a team.
Great.
Yeah, I think the coaches they brought on, some kids want to go play for them. So the numbers are okay. Still need more athletes. I think everywhere. We should fill all of our teams. Let's see what else I have. Reminder that we have our city budget presentation. I might be stealing some of Member Harriman's announcement, but we're presenting the budget tomorrow night to the city council. This is the first presentation. We hope to get some feedback, and then we go back May 6th for hopefully their last approval just before May 13th vote. We are going to do some more town halls. The Democratic Party is meeting on Thursday. They've invited us or taken us up on the invites we've sent out. Saying again to anyone else out there, if we can make it, if you have a group that's meeting who wants to know more about the budget or ask questions, we will do our best to come to your space and do that. We also have 2 more town halls set up, one for the 16th of April and one for the 12th of May, and we will share those out again publicly. And also the high school administration is working with the LRTC administration to create a presentation for those who wish to attend. A number of families have faced a disruption with St. Dom's closing. I want to make sure that families know the things that we have to offer, and also just doing a Q&A. So it'll be an invite for people who wish to attend, but certainly that's a disruptive thing to those families. We also want to make sure people are aware of the things that we have to offer. As we are hearing from kids right now who are turning down schools like Brown, Yale, choosing places like Harvard. I think it's a story to tell. And as a piece to that, starting tomorrow, we'll see how it goes. We're doing short interviews with kids who have post-secondary plans for after high school, and going to get some short videos and just share them out. Make sure people are aware that our students are going to some pretty amazing places, from apprenticeships to Ivy League, and we're gonna let the world know a little bit of their story. So that will be coming out here soon.
Agenda item number 18 is report from our city council rep.
Thank you. So the city council met last Tuesday. That was our last regular meeting. We also had a budget workshop and we wrapped up all the various budget pieces on the city side as far as reviewing them for the first time. Now we'll go back and have general discussions about any items that people want to talk about more or things we want to take out of the budget or add into the budget. As the superintendent mentioned, the school budget will be presented to the city council tomorrow evening. And at our last meeting, a couple of things you might have seen in the news. We approved Public Works to do a demonstration project on Canal Street, making it a one-lane street from Main Street to Chestnut. And that's to sort of demonstrate some of the pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure that could be possible with a redesign of that space. And then we also extended the purchase option for the LA Community Market to purchase the current police department site. They're looking to build a community market, including cold storage and a large commercial kitchen, just a sort of a community food hub that will also be a grocery store and bulk food store for the neighborhood. So they're getting a little more time to work on that, mostly because of the delay with the city with moving out. And you also may have seen the police department is set to move in by May 1st to their new Mill 7. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Any updates from subcommittees? Member Hurd?
Thank you. Health and Wellness met. Karen, you weren't there, but Sue took over. So we had a presentation from Maine Audubon, which was actually pretty cool. They talked a lot about how we can incorporate what they're doing. So they're doing a program right now in Portland Public Schools. And a lot of it is literally just getting kids outside. So adding stuff into their curriculum from, pre-K kids, giving them a list of things that they need to look for, like an acorn or a robin or a certain type of leaf or a flower, all the way up until our bigger grades, in things that they can look at and observe. They also talked a lot about how we as a community or how us as an organization can give back. And that means like planting flowers and trees and like different things to just recoup the ecosystem. So from birds to plants and bugs and all of the things. So they were very gung-ho. It's kind of like, he explained it, all or nothing. So if they would come in and do a program with Lewiston Public Schools, it would be all of Lewiston Public Schools. So all of our elementary schools, our middle school, our high school, everybody gets involved. And they have a very large team of grant writers that they would write grants for us to be able to do this work, which I think is amazing. So I don't know if we should have him come here and present or maybe share that presentation that he shared with us in our wellness committee or something, because I think it needs to be brought to the committee on and voted on of should we offer this at Lewiston Public Schools, which I obviously think we should. More get outside time. So I don't know where we go from there or how that will all work. But there's definitely a big curriculum component added in there, which I think would be huge. So.
Thank you. Any other subcommittee updates? Member Bowden?
Yeah, so negotiations is still going. We have 2 open right now. I think about to be 3. And the finance subcommittee met right before this meeting. I don't really know what I'm supposed to share.
We talked about the cost center detail, and some different negotiation things and
Yeah.
any new information that's coming, and we'll make sure we share with the committee when we can.
Okay. Thank you. That was all.
Any other subcommittees meet? Member Eames?
Well, policy, you see the results of the policy committee meeting and we'll continue. Please get preamble wording in.
Yeah. Anyone else? Member Hurd?
Thank you. One more thing to add to our wellness committee. There were quite a few people there from Food Corps. So if committee members don't know, Food Corps is in our buildings, but they could only do so many of our buildings at a time. So like last year, it was McMahon and I don't know what the other school was last year. Montello. No, Montello is now. Last year was McMahon and Connors. And this year, I think it's Geiger and Montello, I think. So they go in and they do all kinds of food things. So a lot of food testing with our elementary schools, trying different types of food, cooking different types of food, growing different types of food. Like it's just all about like food. And so one of the things that I had mentioned in our meeting is that once Food Corps leaves, so like last year they were at McMahon, so this year they're gone. How do we keep that program running in our schools after they exit? So like McMahon has a garden and hydroponic and stuff like that, but who does that fall under to run that? Like, is it the STEM teacher? Can we hire somebody? Like, how does that all work? So we did talk a little bit about that. Like, what can we do going forward at LPS and partner with Food Corps and the St. Mary's Nutritional Program to keep something going like in our districts once they exit. So just like good things around food and growing and nature and all the things.
Anything else? Agenda item number 20 is community announcements. Member Eames?
Two things. One is that the high school is having a show on the 11th, 12th, and 13th, Ride the Cyclone. We just voted on field trips. I don't know if that show is great on a day we voted on field trips, but anyway, Ride the Cyclone, Friday, the 11th, and Saturday, the 12th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, the 13th at 2 p.m. It's at the middle school, not at the high school, at the middle school auditorium, and I think it's $12. That's the first thing. And the second is still my constant refrain about the growing the children's part of the library. So they're still fundraising. They're doing this garden party murder mystery Saturday, April 26th. And the ticket, it's one of those, I've never done it, but it's one of those sort of staged puzzles. You also get food and drink and you have this puzzle. You work on teams. And it's $50 per person or $90 for two.
And where are they doing it?
At the Callahan Hall in the library.
Any member Eames? I mean, member Hurd?
I knew who you meant.
One
So
syllable.
McMahon is doing their Tiger Run again. It's Saturday the 12th if you haven't registered yet. So the 5K Tiger Run starts at 8 and then the kid color run starts at 9. So if you haven't registered, there's still openings and you can do same day registration as well.
Thank you. Any other community announcements? Agenda item number 21 is future agenda items. Member Bowden?
Thank you. So a couple weeks ago, I met with a constituent and parent in our district, and we had a discussion about just different things going on, and he had a really good suggestion about bringing in some sort of specialist to present to us about classroom management, specifically like in our elementary schools. And I don't know, I'm sure that there's stuff done all the time during professional development days and stuff with our teachers, but I said I'd bring it up, so I'm going to bring it up and see if we can get some sort of ball rolling with that. So,
Member Eames?
So my question was, do we have a way to have people make public comment anonymously? Because that was just mentioned by the public and I didn't know in my head, I was going through like, maybe we don't have a way to do that. You can send an email to our
You
general.
could use like a SOC email account, I think is probably the only way that would happen right now.
I don't know. I don't know what the city does. Scott?
I was just going to suggest either an anonymous email account or if you know someone in the community who could come and deliver your remarks, you know, you could send them to them and they could identify themselves, but say that it's from,
Right. We've had
Another
people present
person.
that way, like a teacher, say they're speaking on behalf of someone else anonymously, or a parent.
Right.
Yes, we've had that before. But I don't think we
I
have
meant
a
email-wise.
direct and anonymous way to do anything like that. Like,
So maybe as an agenda item, we can explore it.
any other future agenda items? Push the button.
Okay, so to explore our partnership with local organizations in our next agenda, in our next meeting. And we can explore partnership and see if we can expand our partnership.
I think along the same subject, I was gonna ask if we could, I know that there's like some funding hiccups and things like that, but if we could get maybe a presentation from the IFCA program that was speaking tonight at public comment about what they're proposing, just so that we can get a full picture of what it is that they're kind of offering and go from there, that would be good. Yes.
So along that same lines, I'm fine with a presentation, but if it's not feasible to offer outside programming as an option for our students, I mean, Root Ed is an LPS program. So if we can't offer any other programming outside of LPS programming, then it's kind of pointless to have someone come present when it's not even going to be a feasible option for us. So I think that needs to be the first step, is to see if it's even feasible to have an outside organization that's not associated with LPS be able to provide credit recovery and those type of services to our students. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
Workshops are, I mean, I know we used to do a lot more workshops, and that's just presentations of things that are a possibility, but so I don't think there's any harm in doing like a workshop model where they present what it is that they're offering. It doesn't have to have a vote or anything like that. It could just be a workshop. Counselor Harriman?
Yeah, I was just gonna suggest also, maybe it makes sense to have either a group of staff or a subcommittee, like, I don't know if it would be curriculum or another one. Have them meet with IFCA and just see if, you know, and I don't know exactly, I know what we've received as a committee, as far as a sort of an outline of what could be possible. I don't know if staff has received anything more substantial than that, but that might just be another option, is for some staff members to meet and just see what is possible and what we need, and if they can work together.
Right. Member Eames?
I know some committees were put together as curriculum and pathways, one of the ones that were put together. So that would be a good, if we send it to committee, that would be the committee, I think.
Member Hurd?
Thank you. So I know I have shared my feelings with the committee, and I'm fine sharing them out in the public. And we talked about, right now we're talking about services or things that are being offered for students after they are expelled. But I voiced my opinion that I'm wondering if we try and get these different services or whatever before the students even get to that expelled point. So maybe there's a list of different partnerships that, you know, students just don't get expelled. There's not something that happens and they just get expelled. Like, they meet with Jake, they meet with Karen, they meet with whoever they want to meet with. So if there's a list of services or nonprofits or companies or whatever that Jake can give to the families at that meeting and say, like, hey, these are some services that you could potentially take advantage of so we don't get to that expulsion point. I think that would be maybe more helpful for our students than to give them options after they've been expelled.
Anyone else? Agenda item number 22, to enter into executive session to discuss negotiations in accordance with 1 MRSA 405D.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? School committee's in executive session at 7:32 p.m.